Welcome back to the Cricket Today podcast on Monday, January 29, after one of the best cricketing weekends of all time. I'm absolutely up and about. I'm your host, Liam McAllion, also known as the Stats Guy. I'm sure Leo was all over it as well. Some of the best cricket we've seen probably in the last couple of years. How you going, Leo?
Yeah, good, thanks, Stats Guy. I'm a bit angry, though. I think it was a very poor result for the Aussies. Kudos to the Windies, though. They were incredible, but yeah, Australia letting us down, I reckon.
I know. It was a weird feeling. I think if I'm going to lose to anyone in a test match, the West Indies, they're just all around nice guys and they're very exciting to watch. So not as bad as losing to India or England on these shores, but it's still unbelievable and a bit embarrassing from the best team in the world, the World Test champions. So we'll get into that, which has been an absolutely crazy weekend. What a test match we had over the weekend. So we're going to go through all that, and there was so much going on. Today, we're also going to wrap up not only the Australia versus West Indies match at the Gabba, but then look back at some of our favourite close and intense test matches. So we love looking back at some of the best moments in history, especially in test cricket. We're also going to finish off with England versus India. Don't always like talking about the English, but they did really, really well over in India. So we're going to touch on that because that was an unbelievable test match as well. Test match cricket is back, Leo. I think we can definitely say after some amazing results, we're very excited about that. All right, let's get right into it. Australia versus West Indies over the weekend. I thought, looking at the weather forecast, there was going to be a lot of rain. We wouldn't even get to see the end of this test, but we got through it, and it was one of the best test matches in Australia in a very long time. What was the scores with that one, Leo?
Windies batted first, 311, which was, I thought, a good score by what we were expecting. Australia were then 4 for 20 early. They went all sorts, and then sort of rescued by Khawaja, Carey and Cummins, putting together some 60s and 70s. Then declared 9 for 289, which was an interesting choice. Then we sort of sent them in. Windies couldn't reach 200, all out for 193, which was a much more well-rounded bowling performance from us. Needing 216 for the win. We were cruising. We were, 2 for 100 or 2 for 110?
Yep.
And then Shamar Joseph got involved, and he was incredible, just skittling through us, basically. We had no answers for him. I thought we could have played the sort of last half an hour better, but I don't think it's on the tail as the issue there. It's on the batsman to be better. But yeah, just a historic win. First test win in Australia for the West Indies since 1997. They won by 8 runs. Only the second test loss at the Gabba in the last 35 matches for Australia. Travis Head with a king pair. Who would have predicted that? I think there's a stat that's his last 4 balls faced at the Gabba have all been wickets. So
the last 4.
Last 4. And I think before then was the 150 against England. So he's either scoring 150 off 100 balls or he's going home straight away. So
I know. Obviously, we were talking him up last week. He made the Test Team of the Year. He was absolutely awesome last year. Probably our most consistent batter behind Uzi. And then he's come out and got a king pair, 2 golden ducks. For anyone who doesn't know the king pair, 2 golden ducks in the one match. He's literally been in the team to walk out there. I feel that would just feel horrible. You just walk out there, walk straight back. Then a couple of days later, walk out there, walk straight back. Lucky he was awesome in the field. He got that run out in close. That was bloody awesome. Where just that quick reaction of him under the bat pad, under the lid, which was pretty cool. But yeah, not a good day not a good match for Trav, and he'll be filthy with that. Because even if he just made a 20 or something, we could have possibly won that, especially with it coming down right to the wire. So bloody filthy. Amazing for West Indies. I feel like this is great for Test cricket. A lot of people were, before we get into the rest of this, before this Test match, a lot of people were going, it's just Australia, England and India at the moment. Test cricket's going in the bin. There's no one else being really competitive. I think this is really, really good for Test cricket. What do you reckon about that, Leo? It's great that the West Indies have won.
Yeah, for sure. I think it just sort of, I guess, is a nice upset. I wish it didn't happen to us, obviously, but
I agree, yeah.
Look, it's good to see a team that we thought had no hope actually, win against one of the best sides. And I guess that sort of leads into the Stats Guy. This is one of the best tests or biggest test upsets of all time. What do you think?
I'm going to say, yeah, I can't believe I'm saying that. We like to say recency bias on this show, but one that comes to mind that we we're talking about before the show is the India-Australia one, actually at the Gabba as well. So that was our other loss. So we've only had 2 losses in the last 35 matches, and 2 of those biggest ever losses of all time are probably biggest upsets of all time, probably at the Gabba, where India, half their side was out. You had Rishabh Pant. Was it his first test match, I believe, or second test match?
I'm not entirely sure, but he was a young head who led them home.
Yeah, that whole Indian team was very young, similar to this West Indies team. But you got an Indian team who would have gone through the ranks as guys that were guns. So in India, you got to average 50 to 100 at least to get into the test side. You had guys in this West Indies team that in their in their grade cricket and then in their state cricket and things like that sort of level, they're only averaging 29 in their first class, or 27 with the bat. You got Shamar Joseph, who only started playing a few years ago. So I'm going to say this is the biggest test upset of all time. I know that people are saying, oh, this Australian team's getting a bit older, but we literally won the Test Championship with the ODI World Cup. We got the World Cup. We got everything going for us. You got the best bowling attack in the world, and they've bloody upset us. And although it pains me, it is just awesome to be a part of and awesome to watch, because that was an amazing effort. I'm going to say, yeah. What do you reckon? It's going to be one of the biggest upsets?
I think I agree with your stats guy. Definitely up there. The India one's also up there, but I think just against the attack we have with the ball, that's a fantastic feat for their batsmen to, do enough to win this game. And then, the names we have with the bat as well, which let us down. I think that's, a really it's just a great win, isn't it, for the Windies? It's a historic win, and it's got to be up there with one of the biggest test upsets, 100%.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's absolutely crazy. You mentioned the batting that was, definitely let us down this test match. I'm going to give you a yeah, and I usually do this to me, but I'm going right back to you. Is Australia's batting a huge issue at the moment? No. Oh, sorry. Australia's batting is a huge issue at the moment. No.
Yeah, I think it is 100%. I think myself and a lot of other Australians would have expected a lot of 400 plus scores with the bat this summer, and we only got 1. And I think that was in the first test against Pakistan. And for me, it was just sort of the way we were going out, especially in the last test match. It just didn't look like we were prepared to concentrate. Marnus going out twice the same way, squaring up, edge to third slip is disappointing to see. Head just didn't look ready for his delivery in the second innings. The Yorker was too quick for him. Wasn't prepared to play it, like, I guess, in time. He was very late on it.
Yep.
Carey, another one, like that dismissal in the second innings was incredibly lazy, left a massive gap between bat and ball. And then even in his first innings, I know he made 65 or 50, but the Windies were just like, we're going to bowl short. We're going to set a field for this. And he was just like, oh, okay, I'll just hit it to you. It's just like, use your brain a little bit. It was clear what they were trying to do. So I thought that was poor. There were a few others as well, but they were the main ones. So I think going forward, like if we were playing India or England this summer, we would have been smashed, I think. Yeah. We would have been absolutely smashed. We would have all been rocked a little bit. So, we're kind of lucky it's happening against Pakistan and the Windies. So we've got to fix up a little bit going forward. What do you think?
Nah, I couldn't agree more. I wouldn't say a huge issue, because obviously we've got a solid track record, but the fact that the whole summer we were talking about this, against some of the lower ranked sides, I feel like, I don't know if I'm obviously not in the Australian camp, but I feel like we sort of underestimated the West Indies a little bit. A few of those ones that were skidding on, or their pace really surprised me with both the Josephs bowling over 140 or most of the match. I feel like we might have underestimated them a little bit. Yeah, especially Travis Head. I feel like that can happen in cricket. I guess it's a tough sport, but you got to at least get bat on ball in one of your innings. It is tough. I wouldn't say it's a huge issue, so I'm going to say nah. But I do think it is a little bit of a worry. Just got to maybe reshuffle the order. Maybe I'm not sure. Just a few guys need to get their confidence up and make a big score. I think Cam Green is one of them. We talked up him. Just to build up that confidence, he just needs to get a big 100. But he's still a bit off that. So we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah.
All right. You go.
Just to add quickly, I think, that pace bowling is something that really sort of gets to us a little bit. Someone with express pace. So just a little drive-by to England. Hopefully they don't take note to this, but if they stop picking blokes like Ollie Robinson who bowl 120 kilometres in Australia and start picking Mark Wood and hopefully Jofra Archer's fit, then they might actually win a bloody series here. So, no, but seriously though, the pace is a huge issue that we deal with. So,
No, you're spot on.
Yeah, going forward, I think that's something we need to work on.
Yep, no, definitely. Talking about pace, Jaffa of the Test. I could talk about this guy for 30 minutes. Shamar Joseph, what an absolute beast. He's probably my favorite player to watch in the world. Well, I'm going to say in sport at the moment. He's just so good. Bowling, I'll go Jaffa of the Test. The one he bowled straight through Carey. Maybe honourable mention to the one that he bowled out Hazelwood. 7 for 68 he finished on. Just literally, they had to give him the ball. They wanted him on from both ends of the West Indies because no one else was really getting wickets for him. 7 for 68 with a possible fractured toe. They kept saying that while he was bowling. The night before, so day 3, the end of day 3 of the Test match, Stark bowled an absolute toe-crushing Yorker. I don't know how he was bowling. They must have juiced him up a little bit. He was raring to go the next day. And then he was limping back to his mark. And then every time he got a wicket, he would run around the field like his toe was fine. And he was ready to jump on top of everyone. I was worried someone was going to step on his foot. But genuinely, that's one of the best bowling performances I've ever seen for a player on tour in Australia. I think that was unbelievable. And for a guy that's only been playing Test cricket for literally a couple of weeks, it's unbelievable, and I still can't believe he'd done that. That 7-for was also off 11.5 overs, so he was pretty much getting a wicket every over and a little bit, and he just looked unstoppable. The bowling just in the 140s consistently, then the Yorker was perfect. The cutaway a few times to Cummins. I could give Jaffa of the Test to about 5 or 6 of his wickets. One, Stark was just being an idiot and hit it straight up in the air, but the other ones were just unbelievable. Shamar Joseph, definitely. Did he end up getting player of the series? I can't even remember now.
I'm not sure, but he honestly has to be.
But cricket today, we are definitely.
He's our player of the series.
He's our player of the series. That's a new segment that just popped into my head there. He's definitely our player of the series. He even chipped in with the bat, obviously in the last tests. Pretty solid. Definitely not a number 10 or 11. I think they can push him up to 8 or 9 the way their batting's gone. So, Jaffa of the Test, player of the series, Shamar Joseph, just get around him. I think he's going to be a star in the making. Obviously, getting 7-for. So, get around him there. What about, we'll go into the rest of the wrap. Slog of the Tests, Leo. I actually don't mind this call. This was pretty nuts.
I think it was very clever batting. They put the field. So just to set the scene, Steve Smith, about 85, not out. We need 20 odd to win, sort of 9 down. Test match is right in the balance. They've obviously put everyone out for Steve Smith, so very difficult to hit a boundary. And with the pace Alzari Joseph was bowling, Smith decides to ramp him over his head for 6. Fantastic shot. The guts to play it is fantastic, but also it's when you think about it, it's actually the most logical shot he could play in that moment. There's no fielder behind the keeper, and with the pace he's bowling, he just needs to get a little bit on it, and it's going to go. So I thought it was incredibly smart batting at that point in time. I still didn't think we were going to win at that stage. I thought Windies, just one ball would have done it. But it was a great shot. Deserved slog of the Test. It was really smart from Smith.
It really was. The fact that he premeditated a ramp shot at the end of a Test match, you never see that. I think you do say it was very smart. I think it was smart because Smith is the kind of guy, his eyes are so good that wherever his body is, he can sort of get bat on it. But it was risky, and he would have copped a lot of crap if he did get bowled or he did get LB or he got hit or something like that. I think he would have copped it for a while then. But it was gutsy and almost got us over the line. It was a great shot. Let's finish off. You love a bit of a moral victory. It's weird reading out a moral victory for Australia. It's a sad weekend or a sad day today.
Speaking of Smith, it's just him making 91 opening. This is a moral victory just because I don't think this proves he can open. I think this proves that he's still got runs in him.
Yep.
I think if he was batting at 4 like he normally was, he would have had the exact same impact on this test. So I just want to wait a little bit more to see if this is actually going to work. But at the same time, I kind of want a specialist opener in the team. So it's a bit of a toss-up. But, it's just sort of a moral victory because he and a lot of, I guess, the people around Australian cricket are probably going to be like, oh, we made 91 opening. He's probably solidified that spot, which he probably has. But I don't think it's a case of him making runs while opening, a positive thing.
I agree. I think it's definitely a moral victory just because even if he's in his own head, he'd be like, all right, I've made a score. He's obviously in his head a lot, Smith. So I think that's good for him, and yeah, hopefully for the future in the opening. But I agree, it still could go either way, the way that he's been opening. So we'll see what happens there. So that's the wrap for the unbelievable Test match that the West Indies won. I didn't mention this, but I forgot to mention it before actually. But I still think they have the best cricket logo in world cricket. Just that logo with on the Caribbean with the palm tree and the cricket. I love that. I'll have to get it tattooed if they win next time they come out here. Favorite close Test matches. We obviously had a really close Test match between the Australia and West Indies, glued to the TV yesterday. So Leo and I are going to have a crack at some of our favorite. There's a million out there. I'll just quickly say that. There's so many out there. You've obviously got one that we don't really want to talk about, Edgbaston. The Ashes, a couple of Ashes ago, where the Aussies were lost towards the end. Ben Stokes went absolutely off. You got so many different ones, Australia, England, Australia, India. Then you got other ones from overseas as well. And Leo's going to touch on one of those. What's a really close Test match? One of your favorites, Leo?
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's a lot, isn't there? You can pick a lot, but this one is my favorite because it was just sort of such a shock at the time, and that was South Africa versus Sri Lanka in 2019. So for those who don't know, Sri Lanka needed 304 runs for victory and were 9 for 226. It was basically over.
Yep.
Enter Kusal Pereira. 153 not out of 200 balls, smacking Dale Steyn and Kagiso Rabada around the park. Some of the shots he was playing, he was just like swiveling like on a desk chair. Like it didn't look like a proper cricket shot. He was just sort of like moving his hips and not his feet. It was really weird, but he was smacking them everywhere. Got them home. And just a shout out to the number 11 Fernando, who made 6 not out of 27. So just didn't go out. It's fantastic to see. I don't know if you remember that match stats guy, but Dale Steyn was bowling some of the best deliveries known to man to Fernando, and somehow wasn't going out. It was incredible. It was an enthralling Test match, and that for me, that's right up there, one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was awesome. I do remember some of the highlights from that match. It's one of those cases where if he was a better batter, he would have got that on it. He would have nicked it. I hate that in bowling sometimes. I feel like Pat Cummins would have 100 more wickets if he was bowling to sort of the top order a lot more, because they get closer to the ball, you're obviously going to nick it, whereas Fernando wasn't getting bat to it at all. He was an absolute all-star. I do remember. Dale Steyn is still the scariest cricketer of all time with his woof eyes, or whatever you want to call him. He's a scary man when he's running in like that. So that was an awesome Test match, and awesome that Sri Lanka got the job done, and really close Test match. I'm going to go Australia versus India in 2008. I remember watching this one when I was a bit younger, probably when I really got into cricket, 2008. India needed 333 runs to win. They were sort of getting close to that. Then they were losing some wickets, and they're like, oh, crap, we better block this out on the last day. Then in comes, no one could really get a wicket. I'm just going to double check the score here. They were 7 for 185, probably about an hour or so left. Maybe about 30, 40 minutes left in the day. They're like, oh, stuff it. We'll bring on Michael Clarke. This is when he had the bleached, tipped hair. Michael Clarke comes on to bowl. He didn't bowl too much in that Test. I think he only bowled the 1.5 overs, but those 1.5 overs were absolutely unbelievable. He had three for 5. He finished on 3 for 5, which is unbelievable. Spinning away, got an LB, got an edge. Went to some great catches in the slips as well, and 3 for 5 to finish it off. Aussies won in with 10 minutes to spare. So that was just a bit of a roll of the dice from Punter, I think was the captain at the time. And Ricky Ponting goes, I'll just give Michael Clarke a ball, see if it can rattle him. It absolutely rattled India. Australia win in the last 10 minutes, and it was absolutely nuts. I remember Michael Clarke, they were just running everywhere when he got that last wicket. And that's one of my favourite cricket memories. Just a guy that's not known for his bowling. Obviously, Michael Clarke was a great batsman. But the guy just coming in, getting 3 for 5. I feel like maybe Marnus might do something like that towards the end of his career, sort of like Michael Clarke there. But absolutely awesome, and that's one of my favourite close Test matches. Do you remember that one, Leo?
Yeah, that was extraordinary. I don't remember watching it live, but years later when you see the highlights, it was just absolute scenes, wasn't it? So it was a fantastic end, and good to be on the winning end of it.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad we got an Aussie one in there after a close loss that tore us apart yesterday. So there's some of our favourite ones. Maybe if you're listening to this, let us know online. We'll do some social clips of some of the closest Test matches when we get back in the office in the studio. All right, quick recap of another Test match. Like I said before, Test cricket's back. It was probably the best day of Test cricket I've seen in a long time yesterday. We got Bazball or England taking on India over in India. So this was an unbelievable Test match there. What was the scores there, just quickly?
Yeah, so I think we touched on Friday that England were all out for 246 and in basically in all sorts because India ended up making 436 in their first innings and, were right on top in this game. I just want to give a huge shout out to Ollie Pope. I know he watches this show. He loves this show. So England in their second innings made 420 and that was largely due to Pope. He made 196.
Unbelievable.
He sort of teases you with the bat normally, makes like a 30 or 40, like a really good looking 30 or 40, then goes out. But it was a real innings of authority. He sort of reminds me of Travis Head in that they're not like similar batsmen, I'd say, in terms of how they play their cricket, but in just how they put it back on the bowling. And there's no fear against any bowling lineup. And I think he's younger than Travis Head, so he's got a really, really well, unfortunately for Aussie fans, I think he's got a fantastic career ahead. So
he's 26, so he's probably in the prime now, as that 196 suggests.
Yeah, it was an awesome innings. Nearly got the double ton, and then India, they were sort of cruising like the Aussies. At one stage, I think they would have been 2 for, I want to say 100 as well.
I can double check that for you. They were. In the second innings or the first innings? First innings.
The second innings.
Second innings. They were, around that, 2 for 70.
2 for 70.
Yeah.
Still only needing, 230 to win at home. You thought they should still do it. And you got here Tom Hartley, 7 for 62. Best figures on debut for England by a spinner since 1948. That's extraordinary. And I think he got smacked in his first innings too. So it was a good comeback. Yeah. Good to see for England to get, well, not good to see for our perspective, but you know what I mean? It was good that for England that they was able to do that. But just crazy test match. 2 great test matches.
Unbelievable. There was best. If you had lots of screens going yesterday, there was so much awesome sport yesterday. And Test cricket, I feel like people are going, oh, Test cricket's in the bin almost, and all this stuff about Test cricket. So those 2 matches, you got one with some massive scores and great wickets. Then you got West Indies turning it on and really close in Australia. I think it was awesome. Yeah, you're right. Hartley, I'm just checking the stats, had 2 for 131 in the first inning. So it would have been filthy to get here for that many runs in his first ever match. But then he bounced back with the 7 for 62. Unbelievable. And it's good to see a spinner that's not Jack Leach, as Tom Clark, our special guest on the live stream, was calling him. Jack Leach, the ball's door openers, guy that's not really spinning it. And I think it's really good for England. A bit filthy, but they found a solid spinner. I saw some of the highlights, and he was just putting in great areas, spinning it a mile. I know it is in India, but a lot of the other bowlers weren't getting much turn or much grip and things like that. So pretty good effort from Tom Hartley. England as well, that's unbelievable. That's only India's 4th home loss in 11 years, which is it's probably even better than Australia's record, or very similar to Australia's record at home as well. But India just an absolute powerhouse over there, and it pains me to say, I think when we talked about this on Friday, we're like, oh, no way England can get a win over there, but they did it, and it's been an unbelievable few days of Test cricket. Actually, I just wanted to quickly touch on, I know England won, but we like to take the mickey out of them sometimes. You had Bairstow leaving one to get bowled. If you want to look at that, that's really funny, especially the way Bairstow's been carrying on over the last couple of years. He just left one on the stumps, so cop that, Bairstow. And then Folkes as well, smashing over the stumps while keeping. I don't know if you saw that. I've never seen that happen before, where the ball's coming in. Folkes doesn't even know where the stumps are, and instead of just grabbing the ball, passing it back to the bowler, he runs straight through the stumps, and the square leg umpire's probably like, oh, God, Folkes, I just put those stumps in. What are you doing, mate? That was very weird. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And another thing on Ben Folkes, I don't know if you saw this, but to get the last wicket, he tried a little cheeky stumping on, I think, Siraj. So Siraj was in his crease, and then sort of it was to a spinner, sort of jumped out of his crease, and Folkes was just waiting to take the bails off to see if he got out of his crease. So one rule's good for them, but not good for others. It seems to be. So I actually don't mind Ben Folkes though as a cricketer, but he seems like a better bloke than Bairstow. Yeah,
not hard, and that's pretty funny that if they got that wicket and then you see Johnny Bairstow appearing in the background, then that's pretty bad if they were bagging carry for that for the moral side of cricket. But they did really well. We have to give props to them. Beating India is unbelievable over there, and obviously creating great history with some bowling and massive history with some batting by Ollie Pope. That's enough about Bazball because I'm sick of talking about them. That's it for the Cricket Today show. What a show. There's so much going on in the Test cricket world. We absolutely love it. we'll be back with this tomorrow. I think Marcus will be back possibly tomorrow, or that's all right. Well, Leo and I can cover it all anyway. So get right around the show. Subscribe on your podcast apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Like and review it, would you? Chuck a follow to Cricket Today and Cricket Today AU all over the socials. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. Send in any questions via the socials, anything you want to chat to us about. Oh, that was a bit of a tongue twister there. Get around the socials. We've got lots of stuff going up. We're going to have some net sessions that we did and some classic catches. So we'll check them out on the socials soon. Us being absolute nuffies and trying to improve our cricket skills, which definitely needs a lot of improvement. I think that's it. Thank you very much, Leo.
Thanks, Stats Guy.
Thanks for turning up today. We'll see if Marcus rocks up again in the next few days. And thank you very much, Joe, for producing. Thanks to me. That's another episode of Cricket Today done. We're out.